For the sake of argument, assume that Kansas is going to expand Medicaid. What would you want a Kansas-centric program to look like? Or you can take this question the other way. 2 minutes.
What other way is there? This is a ridiculous question. And it's already been talked about. We've already lost $1.2 billion that could have gone to care for people who need health care. We have hospitals going under because we have stubbornness permeating the political atmosphere instead of common sense. When we have people in the House of Representatives that actually know something about health care, the Republican Speaker of the House takes them off the committee just so they won't have to discuss the issue. This is not debatable. We need to expand Medicaid, and we need to have every person running for office say that instead of beating around the bush like we heard people who are in office do earlier on that question. Medicaid needs to be expanded. It is not debatable.
Okay, the questions are going back in. That's the question we just asked, so this will be perhaps repeated. Mr. Coe, the question for you is this. Should there be a constitutional amendment prohibiting the courts from withholding funding from schools?
I think what the courts did was exactly what they needed to do. I mean, we need to be able to check and balance our government. If we just let the legislature write the rules, then what's the point of having the Supreme Court? We're already in a bad spot as it is, and education's in a bad spot, and if we didn't have the Supreme Court to back it up, then where are our kids at? I mean, I had 2 kids in 501, and I know the education I got was great, but what they're getting is subpar to what I got. And so we need to look at the checks and balances, make sure that they stay intact, and not try to circumvent the system that was put in place over 200 years ago that's working and has worked, and we just keep going that direction.
Thank you. Mr. Coe. Okay, Representative, this question is for you, sir. You have 2 minutes when I finish reading it. And it looks lengthy. The state is working a backlog of Medicaid applications. What can the legislature do, if anything, to cut down on the backlog or ensure another one doesn't develop in the future?
Well, it's interesting. I think if we look at initially why the backlog is here in the first place. Our state had the opportunity of receiving federal funds. Those funds could have gone toward helping to get the program in place and so forth and et cetera. We refused the funds. Once you refuse the funds, then the only other thing that you can do is look for ways to deal with it. The backlog has been there for a long time, and I do believe had we utilized the fundings that would have been appropriated to the state in the very beginning, the backlog probably wouldn't have been there. The second thing, there's so many people that don't have any kind of medical care of that nature, and because of that, there's all kinds of ways that people are trying to do just to get health care. So I think we need more transparency, number one, and dealing with the situation. I think that the backlog probably could have been dealt with in a much appropriate way had we had the right people in place to do the job. Now, I understand that everybody has a job to do, but there's some things that should be a priority. I don't think it has been made a priority, number one, to make sure that everybody is served, through our medical situation. So I would hope that this coming session, if I'm elected, we'll be able to work with those that's directly involved with it to make sure that that backlog is not there again.
Thank you, Representative. Okay, Mr. Miller, 1 word or 2 word or hyphenated questions? Shuffling, shuffling, shuffling. 1 word. Highway.
One word answer.
Time is yours, yeah. Highways, highways.
Again, some things are not debatable. The people of Topeka know what it's like when you don't repair your roads. And what I mean by that is it only gets more expensive. And now we are about to embark on a program in Kansas, or we have embarked on a program in Kansas to do just that. We had highways that not too long ago were some of the best in the nation, and we're about to be down at the bottom because we're stealing from KDOT.
Hey, Mr. Kill, this question is for you. Regulations. Regulations.
It's kind of a broad statement there, a broad word. We need to look at just, there's so many regulations out there that can be changed on certain things we have with education, with regulations there that are keeping teachers out of the classroom. They might have a master's degree just because the rules out there say a master teacher needs to be paid more, even though that teacher may want to be in the classroom. So we just need to look at different regulations out there and see what works for us and what's not working for us currently.
Thank you, Mr. Kill. Well, we've got two left. This is for a representative here. Which one? That one you drew? Okay.
That's that.
One word, here it is. Education.
I think education is the number one issue one of the number one issues that we're faced with in our state and our nation. Education is the backbone to anything that we deal with in our cities. I think education has been under attack for many years, and especially here in Kansas. I happen to have worked with schools for many years. School deals with real people, and real people need funding. I think we have done a disservice to our school districts.
That was good, thank you for that. So the question that didn't get selected was economic development. That's a very good one, so hopefully we'll stick around afterwards and we'll talk about that. All right, so we're moving in, this is the final round, so to say. We'll go down the table, we'll go to Mr. Kell, and we'll go down the table. I'll be quiet, you know what you're doing, right? Start with Mr. Miller, we'll go down and we'll end up with our incumbent, Mr. Scott.
Well, again, thank you to the sponsors and thank you for all your patient Republicans. I assume you're all Republicans or you'd be home watching the Democratic convention. Yeah, somebody said earlier, don't vote party, vote for the person. And that, I follow that closely, as long as you understand the best person is always the Democrat. Let's focus on that a little. We have a Republican governor in this state. We have a House of Representatives that has 97 Republicans and 28 Democrats, and we have a Senate that has 32 Republicans and 8 Democrats. And how many people think we're doing well? All right? How many people think this state is doing well at anything today? We were just downgraded again in our bond rating. We're being sued in court because we don't fund schools. We have people being assaulted in our mental health institutions because they're understaffed. We have highways. $1.4 billion has been taken. Some of that money was there to improve highways and keep people from being killed. It's time we had more Democrats, and if there's any question about it, you're wrong.
Kill, 2 minutes, sir.
Well, I think I encompass the 58. Okay. Well, I think I encompass 58. I am of the socioeconomic status of most of the 58. We are one of the poorer districts in the state. I currently, like I said before, I currently work at DCF. Prior to that, I worked at the Kansas Department of Corrections with Lansing Correctional Facility. And prior to that, as an education. One thing I'm going to do is challenge all legislators to go to their local DCF office, see what it's like, talk to the clients. Go to the local correctional facility, talk to the inmates, see what it's like to be there. Go to the local schools, not as a parent or grandparent, but just talk to the students, talk to the teachers, so you get a true feeling of what it's like, what you're voting on. I am the youngster in this race, but also I'm the youngster in the state, and we, as my generation, don't want to be saddled and burdened with what our previous generation is doing. We want to change things, get it going in the right direction. I personally believe I'm the one that's speaking up the most out of any of these candidates. I'm actually standing behind issues and being vocal, or, just the example, the CJ articles, where some of them were just 1 and 2 word answers, and some of the answers didn't even coherent to the question that was asked of us. So I hope everyone go and research, look at all the candidates, look at the other 40 candidates. We are the future of this. And like I said, this is my first time actually doing this besides running against Ben in the special election. And it's something it's a great learning experience, and I'm definitely learning I need to do things differently. And hopefully, I can get elected and make a difference.
Thank you. Representative Scott?
Thank you. First, I want to thank you guys for allowing us this space just to come and share our views. I want to say I'm a people person. I've been in the 58th district for a long time. It's sort of one thing to talk, but it's another thing to walk. There was a time in our school district where our schools didn't even have sidewalks. I took the initiative to go and get people to sign their names so we can get sidewalks. There was a time we didn't have water fountains in our schools. I went throughout the neighborhood, gathering people together to get refrigerated fountains in our schools. I've done many things in our district. I'm pretty seen in our district doing various things, but I think that's what's important. I'm not one of those that just believe because I'm who I am, I can get what I want. Currently, we are faced with some very difficult times. I've served in the legislature for one session. We're faced with some difficult times now. I think the murders of black men, I think the murders of policemen, this has got to be on our front burner. A life is a life, whether it's a black, white, red, or yellow. We've got to do more in our juvenile justice system, and I want to say that I had a part in helping to shape the juvenile justice bill that came forth. That was one of the best things that this legislation has ever done, in a long time. Secondly, our budget is a mess. We've got to do things to get our budget under control, because absent of getting our budget under control, our schools will continue to go down, roads will not get fixed, the poor and disenfranchised will certainly be without the support they need. And I feel for our handicapped because they are in need. We're cutting programs and things. Those are the issues. These are people issues. These are the issues we really need to deal with.